Hey there, I'm Tracy Rigdon, and this is the Contrast Project Lounge podcast. Often random, but always relevant, always real, and practically nothing is off limits. This podcast is for you. Are you ready for this? Let's do it. Welcome back to the program, guys. I want to thank you, every single one of you, for being here today. Don't forget, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter X, Threads, and YouTube. Remember to like, share, comment, and smash all those subscribe buttons. Joining us today is the Sustainability Manager for the City of Jacksonville, Florida, Ashantae Green. Ashantae, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. So honored to be here.
I am, I've been wanting to get you on this program for years, and it seems as though our schedules have been bouncing back and forth and everything. And I am so glad to have you here.
Thank you so much.
We were talking beforehand. It's no secret, I guess, to many folks, it's no secret that I am very good friends with your mother, and we have gone fishing together, and we have spent a great deal of time together. Just being, I got to tell you, she is an amazing woman, and it looks as though she has spawned an amazing daughter.
Oh, thanks so much. I love my mom so much. She is a true reflection of everything I value. Her love for the community is why I love the community. So I'm glad that you have that relationship. And she sure loves to fish. So anybody that wants to take her out fishing, that's always the entry point.
I know, right? I know. So let's jump right into it. You are the sustainability manager for the city of Jacksonville. It's an appointed position, and this comes from years and years of being involved in the sustainability movement. And I will tell you that many guests on this program have touted the benefits of sustainability and other things in the city of Jacksonville. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
So tell us exactly, describe the impact of what you do as the sustainability. Let's back that up just a second. We're talking about resilience, sustainability. These are things that have been talked about for decades now, but it seems as though Jacksonville, Florida has now really, stepped up their game. What with the new administration, Donna Deegan wants to make it, a priority in sustainability, resiliency. And what is it that you plan on doing in your new role as the sustainability manager?
Yeah, thanks so much for that question. I think oftentimes when someone's work can be summed up by a word, you really don't sometimes have an opportunity to really think about the multiple layers that go into that work. So in short, sustainability is just looking at how our environment, when it comes to the health of the environment, the animals, and the people, how it intersects with the way our city functions. So when you're talking about sustainability and resilience, they're both things that are very important because it really looks at climate change, and it also looks at mitigation, which is on the sustainability side. It's how we can do things in our normal practices in our environment different things we can put in place to make the environment healthier for our community. So for me, that really translates to reducing our greenhouse gas emissions. So improving air quality, looking at the types of energy that we use in the city. Also, electric vehicles is something that I get an opportunity to really focus on. On the other end of resilience is more so adaptation. So it's looking at opportunities for mitigating heat and
Mm-hmm.
flooding. So those are the two sides of sustainability and resilience. So as you said, this mayor is very, very, very focused on infrastructure. She's focused on climate change action. And I think the things that are coming out of our office is really going to reflect us taking action on those things and looking at how it can be economically beneficial. Because when you look at Jacksonville and you look at our natural spaces, when you look at some of the health disparities, you
Mm-hmm.
really start to realize that once we start to invest in our environment and invest in our people through workforce development opportunities in this green economy that's really growing, we
Yeah.
can go really far. So I'm really excited. We have a lot of great projects going on right now. We're just really focused on driving efficiency, saving taxpayer dollars, and securing taxpayer dollars. There
Yeah.
is like a lot of money, a lot of money out there for energy efficiency that will help reduce energy burden and the amount of money we spend on our light bills. There's a lot of money for air quality, and that's what I'm focused on, making sure we bring home.
Yeah, and you talk about available funds and taxpayer money and that kind of thing. I know that a lot of people recently are bitching and moaning about the whole stadium thing and all that money being spent down there. But those of us that already know, some of that money was already allocated, and through the Better Jacksonville plan. Uh, and how is some of the money, going to be spent in the creation of the Northeast Florida First Climate Action Plan?
Yeah, good question. So, we received a $1 million grant from the EPA to develop
Mm-hmm.
the Northeast Florida Climate Action Plan, and this is the first time in our region that this is ever done. So, it's not just for the city of Jacksonville.
Yeah.
In this position, we were able to really pull together leaders in St. Johns County, Clay
Mm-hmm.
County, Nassau County, as well as the city of Palm Coast to pull together people in positions similar to mine or the planning director or whoever is over buildings, infrastructure, who's over transportation, to talk about how we can reduce our greenhouse gas emissions, improve air quality, and bring a lot of resources into the area. So that plan is really revolutionary because for the first time ever, we're going to have data that shows exactly where our city is, what is leading to the most greenhouse gas emissions in the air. And so far, we've been able to tell that 40% of our emissions come from transportation. And with a area as large as ours, we have to really make smart investments in the way we move people and transport goods. So that leads to me working with the Port Authority. That leads to me working with JTA, and it's a lot of collaborations that can come through that. But ultimately, as we're talking about investments, city-owned buildings is something that we really have to look at how we can make them as efficient as possible and how we can encourage energy efficiency in homes as well.
And you talk about city-owned buildings, and that goes back to some of the past guests that I've had on the program. We talk about infill development and a lot of there's a lot going on when it comes to there. I know, and that and that brings you guys to an intersection where you're on the side of sustainability, and then you have these other guys and other committees they want to bring in development or infill development or progress in especially the urban core and all that. And I'm all for I'm all for the urban core development. I lived down there for a while, but uh, how do we bring the two mindsets, the two people that have the most to offer, bring to the table. You're talking about someone like yourself with the sustainability, and that kind of thing. And then you have people like Joshua Hicks, affordable housing, and then you got all these other people that are bringing something to the table. How are we gonna make this mishmash, you know, make something happen, positive for the city of Jacksonville? Because as you know, you grew up in Jacksonville, I grew up in Jacksonville. Uh, how do we make something like this, finally come to fruition?
Yeah, so one thing about it, the one thing that I feel connects us all is the environment, regardless of your party affiliation, regardless of what side of town you live in,
Hmm.
or on. You need air to breathe. You deserve a clean environment, and you deserve access to certain resources. So, for me, I approach sustainability looking at people, planet, and prosperity, and the way that profit comes into that too. So, I got into this space after 10 years of experience working in construction. So I'm one of those people that understand the intersection of development, and the need for addressing some of our affordable and workforce housing concerns, but to make sure that we're building in a smart and healthy way. So when we're talking about energy efficiency, it makes sense to build a certain way. When you're talking about
Hmm.
health issues, I know you also spoke to Tracy, who's a colleague of mine too, and she's working a lot with nonprofit partners. But you spend so much of your time inside of some type of structure, whether you're at home, whether you're at work.
Sure.
The air
Sure.
quality of that structure, the amount of light you get into that structure impacts people a lot more than they realize. So I think as we're going about, working together in the city, I work a lot with Josh Hicks. We're even working on energy efficiency programs with JEA and communities. We just really have to be cognizant to know that for us to meet our needs in the community, we don't have to sacrifice health. We don't have to sacrifice efficiency in the environment. So I'm honored to be that unifier that can bring a decade of experience in construction to the table to talk and educate developers and educate people in our community about how to leverage some of this federal money, that have zero um, match required sometimes, to leverage how to right size vehicles, or how
Hmm.
to make an inefficient HVAC system more efficient that will later, lead to a better environment and less money on your utilities, So there's an intersection to where it's a lot of communication, but for me, I lead with education.
Oh, oh yeah, yeah. Now, what are as the new sustainability manager, what are your immediate plans right now uh, that you have working on for the city of Jacksonville? Your immediate initiatives that you're passionate about.
Yeah, so we spoke about one of them. The first one is definitely fulfilling some of our grant requirements with the EPA to
Hmm.
produce our first community-wide comprehensive greenhouse gas inventory. As I alluded to, we did a priority plan where we just looked at data that was available, but we're taking the next year and a half to really look at every single contributor of greenhouse gas emissions, do data requests, and then see where we are. So just to explain that a little further, our greenhouse gas emissions are broken down into sectors.
Hmm.
So as I
Hmm.
explain to people, the gray gas, well, smoke, if you will, you see go into the air.
Yeah.
Oftentimes that is greenhouse gas emissions visualized. So our transportation, our buildings have greenhouse gases attached to them. Our agricultural sector, our industry sector, as well as our landfills and waste sector, they all contribute to greenhouse gas emissions. So I think it's one of the first times or that we've really had someone focused on, answering that question of where are we and where can we be? So I'm really focused on getting true data on where we are with greenhouse gas emissions. Next, we're focused on developing a climate action plan. As I explained earlier, sustainability is more so on the side of mitigation as to what we can do now to try to make the environment better. So we have a amazing resilience plan that looks at some of those elements and looks at heat and flooding, but we don't have goals for how much clean and renewable energy we want. We don't have goals for how we're going to reduce transportation emissions from the city standpoint. So I'm really working on the climate action plan, the greenhouse gas inventory, and then the next thing I would say is I'm hyper focused on energy efficiency and opportunities just for overall efficiency to save taxpayer dollars and to bring more grants in.
Well, let me ask you about energy efficiency, and you're talking about that. That brings up a topic that I've been seeing in the news. Is the that people mover thing that they have going on downtown? The electric cars that are going to be moving people up and down Bay Street. Are you familiar with any of that
with
program?
JTA.
Yeah, JTA, that JTA thing.
A little bit.
The
autonomous vehicle.
Yeah. Off the record, what's your opinion about that thing?
I haven't spent a whole lot of time really diving into it. I think innovation is really important for our city.
Sure.
And JTA has been a really strong partner in sustainability for a number of years. Before it got really cool, they've been investing in sustainable. They have a sustainable headquarters that's LEED certified. So I think it's a really cool project, and
it's
innovation
LEED. If I'm not mistaken, it's LEED's 5. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think it might be gold. I think it might be gold certified.
Yeah, because I know downtown the Jesse was LEED certified years ago.
Yeah, the Jesse and the courthouse. So that's actually something else I'm working on. We're actually working on secure a partnership with the United States.
You might not know that.
Can you hear me?
You might not know, but I was involved in that.
Oh yeah, how so?
I was involved with that whole LEED certification down there.
Oh well, you'll be pleased to know that the city is pursuing a LEED for City certification. That we're going through that process right now.
That's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, I'm excited. We're going through the process now. We're working with United States Green Building Council and Bank of America on that one.
Oh my goodness, you're going to have to go through a lot of meetings for that.
It's going to be fun.
I'm going to tell you, I went through a boatload of meetings doing that whole LEED certification downtown for several businesses. I don't know if have you been through some of those LEED meetings?
Oh, definitely. So I worked for a number of years as a sustainability consultant in construction. So I'm very familiar with LEED. I was actually on the board locally and for the state for a number of years.
That can be some time consuming, headache drawing stuff.
You gotta love it and know what you're doing. For me, I can do it with my eyes closed as long as I have the right partners and get the data I need. It's pretty easy.
Let me ask you, strategies in reducing the carbon footprints, and we already talked about the role of community, and environmental, human health, and all that stuff. Let's go ahead and move forward to the Green Legacy Farm.
Awesome. Yeah. So, putting on another hat. We talked about my mom earlier. I really, really love her, and family is a big reason as to why I'm so passionate about people and the planet. So, our family founded Green Legacy Farm in 2021 in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. It started kind of as a hobby, growing food in our backyard to really meet the nutritional needs of our son that has sickle cell disease. Literally, we were in Publix looking for kale, couldn't find kale, and I'm like, what are we gonna do? So we ended up starting a garden, and I'm one of those people that just can't have hobbies. So it became a farm, and with the support of my mom, it became a whole farm. So we just really do it to grow nutritious food for the community and to grow more farmers and to educate people on how to grow their own food.
I really love that. And over the last few years, you're starting to see a lot of people getting involved in the urban farming thing, and not so much, you've got other groups that are, outside of town, and that's, technically not an urban farm, uh, but you do have people inside the urban core that are starting to do neighborhood farms. You got several groups, and I won't mention them, but they're doing such a fantastic job. And I got to tell you, I grew up in the suburbs of the north side of Jacksonville, and we did not have farms. My father grew up on a farm, but currently I have been blessed with the ability to have my own little farm. And every time I look at some of the stuff you guys are doing, you're you're not only growing food, but you're teaching other people how to grow food. You're teaching other people how to, you know, uh, produce their own sustenance. And to me, that's remarkable, and I think it's something that should be spread far and wide. I think more people should be growing their own crops in their yards, and they can if they only know how to do it.
Yeah, and I think as we are talking about just resilience and a lot of things, I feel like growing food is one of the most liberating things you can do because you are able to take ownership of your own food security, right? So if we were to shut down, I-95, I-10 and we're not able to get food into the city, to be able to have that skill or, to get some seeds and know what to do with it, it just really empowers people to take ownership for their health and their self-sufficiency. So I love it. I love being on the farm. As you can imagine, it gets a little stressful sometimes working in government. But the microbes in the soil are my best friends.
Well, I often tell people, I tell people all the time, my co-host Jim Alabiso, he likes to take his morning solace in a ocean swim. And he
Mm.
talks about going to the sea, and he does a lot of ocean swims. For me, I live in the country, and I like to get up in the morning, have a cup of coffee, and walk out into the yard in my bare feet and mess around in my garden. And I've told people,
Oh, you're
man,
grounding.
grounding. Exactly right. Amen, sister. I told a good friend of mine that if you're not getting your feet dirty and you're not getting your hands dirty, you're not getting close to God.
Hmm. Wow. That's powerful.
Of course, um,
Very powerful.
well, I say that loosely only because I'm not a practicing person that believes. But I will tell you that every single day I go out there in my garden and I put my feet in the dirt and I dig in my garden every single day. And it's been that way for years and years and years. And the funny thing is that every time I go out there in the morning, I have like 14 cats. And those crazy ass cats, they follow me out there to the garden every single morning, and I have to get the sprinkler and shoo them off because they get to stomping all over the little baby sprouts.
That sounds right.
Those bedheads. So tell me a little bit. All right, going beyond the the garden that you have out there. Let's talk the legacy green green legacy farm. Let's talk about farmery. Let's talk about this uh entrepreneurship thing you have going on.
Yeah, so it seems that all of this leads back to my mom. So when we started the farm in loves my mom. I love her too.
I love her. I love her.
So after we started the farm in 2021, we really enjoyed doing, team building. We do a free community farm day once a month where people can come out to grow. We started doing supporting school gardens, and we just really thought about how we can, number one, make the farm profitable, and be able to make a living from it, but how can we really make a revolutionary impact? So my mom has been a award-winning chef for over 24 plus years in Jacksonville, and she's somebody that you see those shows where you get the mystery boxes. You can give this lady just random ingredients and she can make it taste good.
I'm a share a little secret with you, and she'll confirm it. Her and I went and had lunch over in Town Center several years ago. Oh, it's been a while. Restaurant opened up over there, and I can't even tell you the name of it. I forgot. We went over there and we ordered a really nice lunch, this kind of thing. And when we got to eating it, she gave me the lowdown on it.
Of course we did. Of course.
She was telling me, well, you know what? This was just a little bit too much.
She'll tell you exactly what it needed or what step they missed in making it.
Yep, she sure did. Let me ask you something else before we go. I got a couple of things to go here. Supporting local farms. I know you're working with the city and you have your own business and you have your own things going on. How do we as a community go about supporting we talk about all the time supporting local businesses. Well, how do we go about supporting local farmers like yourself?
Yeah, so we talked about it a minute ago. Definitely come and shop at Farmery. It's on 3rd and Main in Springfield. But I would say most importantly, supporting farmers supports families. So Jacksonville used to be a very, very, very strong farming and dairy community. And, over time, we've transitioned to other means of industry. But there are so many farmers here that make a living off of growing produce for consumption. So I would say sometimes it's easier to go directly to, like we said earlier, Publix or wherever you shop for your groceries, but to take time out to go to the farmers market. Riverside Ram is a great farmers market. There's Bertha's White farm and market that happens every Saturday now. Going directly to farmers kind of cuts out that middleman and puts money directly in their pockets. And for you get more nutritious produce. Like, I meet grown people that say they don't like fruits and vegetables, and my question is, have you ever had fresh fruits and vegetables?
Right.
Like that were picked within 48 hours,
Right.
Taste the nutrients. So I would say, going to farmers market, following farmers online, and some of them have CSA subscriptions where you can pay a certain amount and you get produce delivered, or you can pick it up every week. So go directly to the source, because if you know your farmer, you know what's in your food. And that's so important, especially with all of the concerns that we're having with health, and they're messing with food and everything now. So
yeah, I've been in this mindset for years. I live in the country, so I've been in this mindset for years. And I've tried to, explain it to people. Heck, if you really apply yourself, you can really supplement your income of fruits and vegetables, mostly vegetables. It takes a little longer to grow fruits, but you can in your backyard, even if you live in a neighborhood that has a HOA, right? HOA. Uh,
Yes, for
you
sure.
you can put up a couple of stringers in your backyard and grow veggies. I mean, you can.
Yeah, and you can grow a lot. You can grow a lot in 1 square foot of space. In a
Yes, you
five
yeah,
gallon bucket, if you don't have a backyard, you
yes you
can you can
can.
grow a lot of food.
Yes you can. Yes you can. I have been blessed with several acres, but uh, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And I know you guys have more than a couple acres. How many acres are out there at the farm?
Yep. So currently we're actively growing on maybe a quarter of an acre, but the property, so we actually have micro farm sites all over the city.
Oh yeah,
So the
yeah.
farm site that we're currently on has about 10 acres, but a lot of it is activated with different things. We have a educational trailer out there. There's a lake for education. There's
Hmm.
a church a little further down that we partner with. So we try to make it accessible, so we have a couple sites within communities that people
Hmm.
can travel to a lot easier to learn these skills.
Yeah. Do you guys work with that guy? What's he calls himself, the farmer overalls guy or whatever?
Oh, Nathan, man in
Yeah, yeah,
overalls. So
Matt. Yeah, Matt.
we yeah, Nathan is a good friend. We actually sell his magic mix at the farmery. He's a great educational
Oh,
resource,
that
especially when
compost.
we're talking about
He's got
square
that
foot.
compost
Oh, that
stuff.
magic mix is good. It's good. And he has education on square foot gardening, like we were talking about, to maximize your yield. So he's a great resource. And there's a couple farmers, even at the Murray Hills Farmers Market, Mikey with Chandanko Farms, like
Hmm.
just go to the market, start talking to the farmers, and you will
Yeah,
learn anything you need to learn.
yeah. You're talking about that magic mix. I was actually I recently started. It hasn't done anything, so you're not going to see any pictures yet. But I've tried that.
I need to see the proof.
You're not going to see any pictures yet. But I just started doing some of that thing where the Indians, the Native Americans, used to plant corn, squash, and beans in
Three
a
sisters.
circle. The three sisters, right?
Yeah. Three sisters, yeah.
I've recently set aside a portion of my garden to do that, and I'm gonna see how it works. I don't know. I'm gonna see how it works.
Yeah, corn is a little hard to grow, if you don't have appropriate, spacing, because every kernel that you eat is a hair that comes out the top that needs to be
I know.
pollinated. So
I
I would
know.
say make sure you
They
have
got to be
adequate
close.
pollination.
They got to be close. I
Yeah, they gotta
know.
be
I
close.
know. They do. They do. And one of the things I learned this past season was I planted some peas and beans and squash around my corn, but evidently it seems as though they sucked all the nutrients out of the corn. I that's the only
Oh.
that's the only thing I can explain, because the corn wasn't doing shit, but the beans was going crazy.
You think you got so corn also needs a lot of water too, though.
Oh,
So
so
you if
and so do cucumbers. I've got some trellises. I've got some trellises with cucumbers on them, and boy, I got to put water on them every day.
Yeah, well, you think about cucumbers are mainly water content,
I
so that makes a
know.
lot of sense,
I
right?
know. I know. I know. I know. I know. Yeah, I've been up and down that block. Currently, I've got some starters for my summer crop, so I'm okay. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, so now's the time to get started. I know a lot of people get excited about spring, but I'm like, summer is when all the fun stuff grows. So
It is.
start a summer garden for sure.
It is. It is. I already have my starters in my greenhouse. I have the luxury of having a greenhouse, and I started a bunch of seeds.
Yeah, I need a farm tour now.
I know. I started a bunch of seeds in the greenhouse the other day, so I'll just let them, sprout and do what they do in the greenhouse for a month or so, and then I'll put them in the ground by the end of June, and we'll see what happens. I don't know. I really need to take a season off. Probably next year, I'm going to plant nothing but sunflowers, so that they can detoxify the ground.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the sunflowers.
I love sunflowers.
Yeah, they take all that iron and minerals out of the ground, and they suck all the crap out of the ground, so everything else can grow.
Yeah, you probably want to also consider like a cover crop of like
Clover.
different. Yeah, clover is good for the bees.
I
Bees
know.
love clover.
I have a boatload of marigolds out there right now. I've got marigolds throughout the garden and basil. And my basil, I know, and my basil is about a foot tall now, and they're just going crazy.
Well, have you tried my mom's cucumber basil lemonade?
I have. So good. and truth be told, I've had your mama's brownies.
Was it the ones that had the black beans in it? Some people don't know she put black beans in some of those brownies.
I'm not saying.
Yeah, but that's ultimately, why we started the farmery, to work with the farm, because we were showing people how to grow the food, but growing it is one thing, but if you don't know how to prepare it or can eat it, you can't improve your health, right? So that's why we started the farmery, and we do catering. But ultimately it's to transform good food into good food.
Well, I tell you, in this day and age, it behoves, anybody, not just people that are lucky to have a big piece of property, but anybody that has a backyard. You really can, per square foot, you can grow a ton of edible stuff to sustain your family if you just, practice. If it takes practice. It does take practice if you don't know how to do it. So you have to go season after season. If you have a crop that fails, one season, well, try again. There's plenty of resources, out there. You have to know how to just rotate your stuff and make sure that your ground is going to grow what is going to grow in the state of Florida.
Oh, definitely. And there's a lot of resources out there. If you guys want to go to our website, greenlegacyfarm.com, we have a Northeast Florida growing guide on our website that was published by the University of Florida IFAS. And they also do like very low cost nutrient testing for soil. I think it's like $6, if that. So it's a lot of great resources out there.
Yeah. Okay. So it's been a joy having you here today. Let me get a closing thought from you before we go, because I know you have to go to a city council meeting.
Yeah. So I just want to express gratitude for what you do on this platform. Oftentimes there's a lot of causes and conversations that aren't supported or aren't happening. So I just want to express gratitude for the invitation. And in closing thought, I would say, I would just really encourage people to go relentlessly after what you believe in, regardless of if sometimes you feel like you're a voice of many or a voice of the few. Just keep pushing forward and doing the work that you feel you're called to do. And I walk every day in purpose because, somebody got to care. So I just leave that with all of you, and thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. We will be in touch.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Well, that's a wrap. Another fantastic episode of the podcast. You can find us on all the social media platforms, wherever you surf, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter X, Threads, wherever. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. And on our YouTube channel, don't forget to like, share, comment, and smash that subscribe button. If you're streaming audio for the podcast, you can find us wherever you get your favorite podcast programs. In the meantime, I like to tell everybody, take care of yourselves and each other. Until next time, peace.